The Tragic Fall of Ant-Man. How Hank Pym became Yellowjacket. In one of the most emotionally devastating episodes of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Dr. Hank Pym undergoes a complete psychological breakdown that transforms him from the idealistic, pacifist scientist Ant-Man into the violent vigilante Yellowjacket, and he fakes his own death to do it. After months of isolation, Hank had become a human disaster. When Tony Stark and Janet Van Dyne visited his laboratory, they found him sleep-deprived, malnourished, and rambling about a dangerous new microprison and quantum annihilator he'd created. The lab was a wreck, mirroring Hank's deteriorating mental state. When Tony and Jan tried to convince him to work at Stark Tower for his own safety, Hank refused, and moments later a massive explosion ripped through his lab. The explosion wasn't an accident. Hank deliberately staged his own murder, planting evidence to make it look like the Serpent Society had assassinated him. At his funeral, Tony delivered a moving eulogy calling Hank a dreamer and a hero, while Janet mourned the man she loved, never getting to tell him how she truly felt. The Avengers, and heroes like the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, gathered to honor their fallen friend, unaware of the deception. As the Avengers investigated Hank's murder, a mysterious new vigilante appeared, Yellowjacket, dressed in black and yellow, ruthlessly hunting down the Serpent Society. Unlike Ant-Man's peaceful methods, Yellowjacket seemingly vaporized criminals without mercy, leaving no room for rehabilitation, only punishment. Janet was the first to recognize the truth, identifying Yellowjacket's use of insects and technology as unmistakably Hank's work. The most revealing moment came when Yellowjacket accidentally killed Thor with his quantum annihilator during a confrontation. Watching Thor vanish, Yellowjacket briefly lost his composure. Overwhelmed by guilt and flashbacks to when his creation Ultron had nearly destroyed everything, this emotional crack in his armor showed the man beneath the mask was still human, still haunted, still Hank Pym. Hank's transformation stemmed from deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. He believed he was the Avengers' weakest link, a pacifist in a world that demanded violence. His inability to stop Ultron, his own creation, had shattered his confidence. The fundamental contradiction of being a superhero who opposed violent methods had been eating away at him from the start. He couldn't reconcile his ideals with the reality of superheroics, and it broke him. By becoming Yellowjacket, Hank tried to prove he could be strong, decisive, and effective. Everything he thought Ant-Man wasn't. But this wasn't growth. It was a mental illness manifesting as a violent alter ego. He mocked Janet for mourning him, claiming Hank Pym is dead, fully dissociating from his former identity. What made this arc so powerful was its emotional honesty. When Janet finally unmasked Yellowjacket in front of the other Avengers, the pain on her face was palpable. The man she loved had deliberately made her suffer through his death, only to reveal himself as someone she barely recognized. The Avengers discovered that Yellowjacket hadn't actually killed anyone. His quantum annihilator sent victims to his unstable microprison, where they were slowly being crushed as the prison collapsed. Tony refused to accept Yellowjacket back on the team, seeing him as crazy as a hornet's nest and a loose cannon. Only Janet's plea that they needed Hank as much as he needed them convinced Tony to give him a chance. The episode ended with Hank still as Yellowjacket, a bitter reminder that his mental health crisis remained unresolved. Hank's voice actor, Wally Wingert, brilliantly conveyed this transformation through vocal performance alone, making the character sound completely different, jarring and unfamiliar, just as disturbing to viewers as it was to Janet. The show depicted mental illness not as something heroic to overcome, but as a genuine crisis that required help and support. Ultimately, Hank Pym's story in Earth's Mightiest Heroes stands as one of animation's most nuanced explorations of a superhero's psychological breakdown, showing how trauma, guilt, and self-doubt can destroy even the most brilliant and well-intentioned people from the inside out.